Welcome back to Pokey's Mechanical. Now today I'm going to show you how to put a Brown Davis long range fuel tank in this 2016 Isuzu D-Max. Now I have jumped the gun a little bit. I've already pulled the tank out, but I'll quickly run you through what I've done already. Now this is the factory fuel tank here, and that usually occupies this space here. Now first things first, you want to disconnect these fuel lines here. If you have the style side on your ute, you'll have to take your guard off and then take the hoses off your fuel filler. Now you're going to have two straps under the fuel tank up like this, and there are two 14mm bolts on the chassis side of them. Now what you want to do is actually support the fuel tank first before undoing those, reason being it's going to fall. But all we want to do is lower it enough that we can reach the plug for the fuel gauge sender, and once that's undone, lower it all the way out and just make sure that you are feeding the hoses from the filler up here as you're coming down. Alright, so now we're up to speed. What we're basically going to do is take all the stuff off the old tank and transfer it into your new long range fuel tank. So first we'll get this black clip off, and that is just a couple of screwdrivers under. Pop that clip up. So you pull the clip all the way out and that line should pop straight off. So we'll keep that clip safe there. Set that aside, and it's same with the white clip as well. Helps also if you actually push the hose inward toward the fitting. That'll give you a little more room to get the clip out. There you go. Now they are different sizes, one's small, one's big, so that you can't actually get them mixed up. Now, if you can, try clean it up around, get any dust or debris out. Obviously next we're going to take the fuel head off. Now it's got this ring on top. If you are struggling, some people, they might take a screwdriver or something and hit it on the teeth there. What I'm going to do is take the big multi-grips, grab on said teeth, and use that to turn it. And that's loosened it enough. We'll undo that bad boy. Now be wary, don't just go yanking this thing out. You have your fuel sender on the back here. So what you want to do is lean that over. You're going to get diesel everywhere. Make sure not to catch your float on the side and bend that arm, because then you'll get incorrect fuel level readings on that. Now moving to the new tank, we've got this protective oil on the tank here. So what we'll do is try avoid as much as you can getting anything inside the tank. So we'll get that nice and clean, wipe the oil off, take a bit of brake clean on a rag, and we'll get all that cleaned off. Now that's all clean, take the factory rubber O-ring, give it a little wipe, make sure there's no debris on it so it seals properly, set it in that channel there. While it's out here, might as well give the top out a bit of a clean up. Take your cradle assembly. Now note there is a locating notch here as well as in the new tank. So again, feed that float through, pop that bad boy in there. Now once you got it in there, line up the notch, press it down so it's seated on the O-ring. Take the supplied ring, lay it over, line her up with the holes, and what I'm going to do is I'll put one in and I'll just get that started. I won't tighten that all the way down. Take one over the other side, just get that started as well. That way I don't have to hold it, and I can pop all the rest of the screws, just get all the rest of them started and tighten them once they're all in. When you get these out of the bag, it's just one spring washer per bolt. Now, the reason you don't want to go tightening them down before you've got them all started, if you tighten one down, it could pressure the plate down one side and you won't be able to start the others. So now they're all started, I'll just go ahead and tighten them all up. Peach. Alright, next thing we'll get the fuel lines connected up. There's bolts fixed into the tank. We'll take this tape off. And we'll take this one, push it all the way on and fix it with the clip. Now make sure it's the right way. Notice that there's a step on one side. It's locked. Take the other side, slide that on. Again, correct orientation with the clip, pop that in. Both are locked up. Now take these supplied P-clamps. Notice two smaller to a bigger, obviously for the different sized hoses. And they will go on these studs that are welded into the tank. And tighten those down with the supplied washer and nut. Next up, we've got the rollover valve. So we'll take the hose clamp, stick it over the barb fitting. And I'm just taking the screw out to make it a bit easier. We'll take it and we'll tighten it down on the barb. Take some thread sealant, run around the thread, and you want to run it just at the start of the thread, and it'll push through the rest of the threads as it feeds on. Now I'll probably jump the gun with the hose, probably put that on first, but If you put the hose on first, you can do a cool thing like this. And that orientation points off the end of the tank here. Be mindful as you're tightening this down, the orientation that it ends up in. You want it to aim somewhere toward where the factory one was pointing. Here is the factory one for reference. Now we'll get the factory fuel filler hoses off. Bit of a twist to break the seal. Wiggle, twist and pull. Holy. Whew. One off. Oh. Easy as that. Right, now after struggling with your hoses for an unnecessary amount of time, we will go ahead, pop our new hoses on. Remember to put the hose clamp over. Tighten that down. Yeah, spring clamps back on. Now moving to the underside of the car. You're going to take these bolts that are supplied and they go into the factory fuel tank saddle position. One being here, like so, and one here. See, one corner is rounded and that's so you can slide it on through. Now we're just looking at this and it's got this section of the tank that actually sits over top of the over the drive shaft. Tail shaft. So what we've done is sit it up on the side, and as we go up we're going to roll it over and try fit it in there. For the hose.
What we're trying to line up is this mount into that bolt, this mount onto that bolt there, and the same around this side. So we've just got a little bit of tight clearances, but we're getting there.
For the guys with the style-sided utes, this is probably the point where you plug in your fuel gauge sender. So if you reach in to grab your plug, and before you get all the way up, which way does the plug go? If I can find it. Now you're going to take your bolts that you saved from the standard fuel tank saddle, put those in the positions closest to the chassis, if you can get it started.
3 hours later.
Alright, fast forward a little bit. That was a bit of a juggle and a struggle. That was a struggle juggle. Now, here is probably what was causing most issues. The center bearing mount, we actually loosened the bolts off and shifted it as far as we could over this way, and that gave enough room here. And then otherwise there was just a bit of a juggle. We'll show too the washer situation. So big flat washer, spring washer nut on the strap side, and on this side is the other sets of washers. You can tell they belong there because these washers, the hole is too small for this hardware. Also these strap mounts on this side, they get double nutted. But otherwise, that is the tank fitted up there. Look at that. It actually looks really neat. Alright, refit these fuel lines. Put it on there. Let's clamp back on. Put the big one on here. There we go. Put that fuel line back on. Fuel line's done. Now refit your filler hoses. Sorry for the guys with the style sides, I'm not sure how they look. I've only got this to work with. Last thing, grab the hose from the rollover valve, put the filter in it with the arrow pointing toward the tank, and zip tie it up to the steel filler tube. And there you go. There's your Brown Davis long range fuel tank sorted out in your D-Max. Now it's pretty much fill it up with diesel, run it through, check for leaks, go further. Thanks heaps for watching, really appreciate it. Don't forget to do all the things, the likes, the bells, the subscribes. So that's that. And I'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.